Are you dealing with the challenge of not knowing the difference between manipulation and influence in the skill of trying to learn persuasion because you want that skill to actually move your creative vision forward or make your business a little bit more profitable, if you will? If so, stay tuned because I am going to break down the difference between manipulation and influence on the way to you getting the skill of persuasion. My name is Douglas Bedford, and I am a mindset coach that helps creatives get past any limiting beliefs or self-sabotaging patterns that stop them from getting the creative life that they desire. So when I work with a couple of clients, one thing that comes up is this fear around communication, of actually expressing yourself and saying what you want from the world, whether that be a version of manifestation or actually monetizing creative ventures. And the one thing that it all comes back to is not just communication, but how you're actually influencing the world. So today, in this very quick video, I'm going to walk through the difference between influence and manipulation. With influence, it's when you're doing something to someone for their own benefit. This could be either advice, tough love, challenging someone, or just being kind to them to let them know that they might be off track. But overall, your intention is to help them get the best outcome for themselves. Now, for manipulation, it's when you actually have the intention of doing something for your own benefit at someone else's expense. Typically, when people manipulate somebody, they're lying through their teeth. They're saying whatever that comes off the top of their head to make someone do what they want. Overall, they do not care about the other person on the other side. They only care about what benefits them the most. They'll say and do anything to manipulate that person to do what they want, kind of like a puppet master, if you will. Put a Pinocchio thing right here or something. But that's the main difference. I could go into it a little bit deeper, but for the most part, influence is when you're trying to create change in someone's life for their benefit. Manipulation is when you're doing it for your own benefit at the detriment of the other person on the other side of your communication. So let's focus on the influence part because we're all good people here listening to this channel, watching me talk, right? So with influence, the way that you can actually influence somebody is by asking questions, to have someone open up their belief system to you by asking skilled questions that allow someone to state how they are processing the world. We all have a way of seeing the world, and sometimes that way gets a little bit off based off the way that we were raised, the things that we believe, outside influences, all pun intended influences, right? And so for you to influence someone, if you ask them a question on how they process the world, then you're able to then understand their belief system to then move them towards a direction that can actually work for them. An example would be if someone has a belief of, I can't get out of bed early and there's no way that I can actually change my life. A question that you can ask to influence somebody is, well, who told you you can't get out of bed? Or what happened in your life to where that is a belief of yours? To then know where they have to explain themselves. Well, when I was a kid, my mom would just let me sleep in bed as long as I wanted. Then the question would be, well, does that actually benefit you to getting to where you want to be now? Like, aren't you an adult? Think about that question. That might be a little bit challenging. But again, your goal is to influence someone to get a better outcome. So by you actually challenging someone, you're allowing them to then have an internal pressure in themselves to make a change, which leads to the other part of ways to influence people. When you allow someone to have that internal pressure of change, a lot of times people see that as something to shy away from. You don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or you feel like you might be moving things in a too personal direction. But here's the thing, if your goal is to actually make change in your life or in other people's lives, sometimes you have to ask hard questions. Sometimes you have to challenge people. And you got to see that when you challenge someone, it's not something that is rude, it's actually caring. And if you do come from that place, your intention is from a caring place, then the words that actually come out of your mouth will be in alignment, what I mentioned before, to where people will notice that like you have the right intention to help them change. Which actually brings up my next topic, the benefits of using influence instead of manipulation. When you do influence someone, you put yourself in this place of leadership. If you go the manipulation route, you risk ruining your reputation. You might get a short gain, but you will get a long-term loss. Once you are identified as a liar, someone that is untrustworthy, no one will ever trust you again. And I don't know about you, but for me, you have to guard your reputation with your life. One of the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, great book to pick up. But when you influence someone, you might end up ruffling a few feathers, but at the end of the day, you put yourself in a leadership position. And when that happens, people will trust you. They will trust your opinion, and that will allow you to move whatever creative vision that you have forward. Which leads to the last point, how to actually spot manipulation versus influence. Usually, you can spot manipulation by the way that you feel or the reputation of the person that you're talking to. Usually, a reputation will precede somebody. So you can have an idea if someone is manipulative. But say that you're in a work situation and you're not sure. Usually, if someone's saying things to you that are too good to be true, that you constantly feel like they're agreeing with you, more than likely you're probably being manipulated. Whereas if someone's influencing you, there might be a hint of being inspired, being challenged, and you just feel in your heart that the intention is for you to become a better version of yourself. Now, there are some people that are very manipulative, and how I just described influence is actually manipulation. Those people are probably narcissists, and that's a totally other video. But at the end of the day, you have to have a good radar of influence of how you are actually going to navigate through the world. And that radar only happens when, one, you can influence yourself, and two, set boundaries that allow you to have people in your life. Because at the end of the day, you can't just be stuck in a bubble. You have to communicate with someone. And at some point, you have to have goals that align with other people or see things in other people to where you want them to be better, to do better, to change their life. And as a leader, you're going to have to influence people. And as a person that's walking in the world, you have to notice when someone's trying to manipulate you. So at the end of the day, the choice is always yours. And this life is a growing process. So I'll leave it at that. This is Douglas from Curing Broke. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe